to say, come, get what you need from the spa. Come, get a facial. Come, get a massage. Come, let me work with your body. Come, let me do holistic wellness. It was like, well, I got to pick up kids. I have to do all these things. It was almost like our people feel like we have to earn, and I know why. I know societally and historically why, but it's like we have to earn that moment to check in with self, to regulate with self, to be accountable to self. And it's like our counterparts, they know that. They know where to go, they know how to do it, and they know when they need it. They are very well aware. And you mentioned in your letter about finding healing in unexpected places. So if you weren't at the spa, if you weren't, meeting with therapists, I know you said that came later. Mm-hmm. What did those unexpected places of healing look like for you to bring you to that place where you could woosah and you could say, oh, I got to sit in, I have created a whole castle of foolery. I got to sit in this. What did those unexpected places look like?
Can I go back to the place where you said you offered it to our sisters, mm-hmm. and they said a laundry list of things that they had to do.
They just wouldn't give themselves permission.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's that women of color don't necessarily give themselves permission. I think we've been taught that we're the last to partake in self-care and free time because, one, we have a whole list of people that we care for.
Yes.
That's one. Two, a lot of us don't have the opportunity to not be employed. Mm-hmm. So now we work, we're taking care of the children, mm-hmm. That's school, that's sports, that might be recitals, that may require practice. You may be part of other organizations. You could possibly be married. You may be trying to get your business off the ground. You may be in school. So where does that leave you on a totem pole when you are taking care of a lot of other people, mm-hmm. and you dare not articulate for a moment that you're tired, because now you are labeled as being angry, bitter, mm-hmm. unapproachable, and all you are is simply tired.
Right. And so then we have to take control of that narrative, right? So when I was able to bring people, and that was one of the starting places, you're allowed to be here. You're allowed
helping
to rest.
them to reshape their mind.
Yes.
And their thought process.
It is a process. And from the first time, I literally had one client. She was so rigid that first time, and I didn't even charge her. And that's the beauty of on your own. You know when you can like flow with the anointing, right? I didn't charge her because it was so just a like you said, a whiplash of I shouldn't be here. I should be taking care of kids. I should be, because the training of us being last, right?
And it was an unfamiliar place for her.
By that third time, mm-hmm. physically her body began to loosen. And by the time her session was over, because I did womb work with her, I did a womb massaging and a fungal fusion. By the time that session was over, I said, I'm going to block off I'm going to take my next person into the other room, stay as long as you need, and get what you need. And I knew I was following the spirit. We know how to do that. We have to bring our Holy Ghost into the marketplace. It's marketplace ministry. I began to hear her cry. I knew that's what she needed. She just needed that. Now that she could pull off all the armor, mm-hmm. now that she could take off the backpack full of what people said, did, and needed for. Once she was able to unload, she was able to deal with self. She was able to have that safety to do that. Absolutely. And I was honored to take her on that journey. But you're right. I'm saying that to say it takes time.
It does.
And I'm sure for her, my massage bed was an unexpected place mm-hmm. for healing. So for you, what did those, I'm being nosy. You said be the nosy friend.
No,
I'm still being nosy. What did those unexpected places of healing? Can you give me an example, like one or two places?
Absolutely. Well, the first time, and this may seem very minuscule to some, 60 seconds of quiet time. uninterrupted quiet time. And 60 seconds may not seem like a lot of time, but when you have a full calendar of things that you're doing all day, just a moment to start with uninterrupted time. Don't knock on my door. Don't call my phone. Don't text me. I'm not checking an email. I'm not responding. I'm not surfing on Facebook. I don't care what is transpiring outside.
Yeah.
I don't care what bill is due. I don't care what has to be cooked for dinner tonight. 60 seconds of uninterrupted time was the first step for me because it was me training my mind to be still for a moment for me. Because women with a lot of responsibilities, or anyone for that matter, in fact, with a lot of responsibilities, most of the time you have a list of things that you're trying to check off each day to ensure that they are done. So to be able to chime in or hone in on Mattie, that was my very first moment of feeling like this is worth it.
Yeah, you're worth it.
I'm worth it.
You're worth it.
You're worth it, Lotuses. So that was an unexpected place. Having family time.
Okay.
Peaceful family time. Hearing my children recollect times when they've noticed my sacrifice and them to be at an age where they can articulate thank you.
Yeah.
That was a moment. I'm not saying the very obvious for me, and that's church. Church. But I would have to say, even over church, my prayer closet.
Yeah.
Time.
Because can we pause? Hold on. Can we? Because I mean, you said friend, right?
Absolutely.
Church to me holds a duality because it can be a place of healing, but because there's an expectation of healing, when people start peopling, it can become a place of hurt. So, and it sometimes can be unsafe to go through that healing process if it is in a nurturing environment. So can you talk about how important that prayer closet was? Because that happened on your own. That wasn't with the bishop and the organ and the usher and your best friend from the choir. That was you, one-on-one. What was your prayer? Like, how did you know you needed to get this for yourself?
I've always known that God has been my regulator. People look at me when I do business, or sometimes if I'm not in an environment where I feel like I can be my complete self. So let's be honest, we can't be that in every environment.
That's right.
And it's not that you're being fake. It's just you get a version of me. It's still me. It's just a version that I'm trusting you with now.
That I feel safe with,
that I feel safe with. So I'm trying not to be offensive, because I know that sometimes when I go down the line and I'm black and white, it does pierce. My daughter has the same conversation with me all the time. God and I have always had a relationship where he's been my sustainability. But I've always had a challenge with loving people beyond how I love myself. So that's why I had to come back and say, hey, I got to put my time with God above my answer about the church, because people will disappoint you.
Yes.
And you will disappoint others.
Yeah.
It's because there's an expectation sometimes, an unrealistic expectation from people of who you're supposed to be or how they see you to be. So my time with God allowed me to be my true, authentic self, because he knows me anyway, right?
Right.
He knows when I'm going to show up as an imposter trying to play these little games, because he is my father and I'm his child. Our parents know.
Yeah.
They know.
They let you get through the lotto. They let you get through. They be like, okay, all right.
All right, here's my daughter, Mattie. She coming. I know. I know she got some stuff for her today.
Just let her get it out of the system.
There you go. There you go. But he loves me from a place that I will never be able to overstand. But he's taught me to have a level of grace for myself.
Yes.
And because we have that, we are those women that have that long list of things to do, who wants to sometimes get them all checked off. When we don't hit the mark, we don't afford ourselves the grace necessary.
Listen, that is so real.
So that's why my prayer closet was able to be my place. I learned grace. I learned that the Father sees me in a different light and through a different lens than I saw myself.
Yes. Yes. And that's the journey, right? To begin to see yourself how God does. See yourself as the asset. And you talked about, faith earlier, and I want to dig into that in a second. But faith is transferable. And when it comes to God, it's tangible. We can feel how he sees us because that's how his love shows up, right? When we realize that he has so much faith in you that he graces you with the opportunity to get it right. Grace comes because of his faith in us. You know what I mean? Like that's the transference. And finding that out, it is, for me, it's sacred. Just as sacred as your prayer closet. That was the place you were able to find your divinity, your sacricity, and who you are and how you your necessity in the earth. And the beauty of it is nobody else, people's understanding of you, liking of you, permission, God's faith in you is not predicated on what other people think.
That allowed me to get through as well. Because sometimes when people try to control you, and I'm not talking about church, I'm talking about people in your life in general, what their narrative of you or what they think you should be doing.
Right.
Because we do fall prey to that sometimes, especially when we are challenged in our self-esteem and in our self-confidence. So I put a status on Facebook. Unfortunately, we have to learn to, not unfortunately, we have to learn to be able to have a relationship with God or whoever your higher being is and be steadfast in that, to be able to have a level of connectivity and interaction, to be able to hear above what others think you should be doing.
It's so real.
A lot of times we travel down that vein and we don't understand why things aren't working for us.
Yeah.
Why is our process so frustrated? You ain't supposed to be here.
Not
You're on the wrong road.
Walking around in the summertime with a bubble coat on because somebody told you, but you are the flyest Eskimo I've ever met. And I bought you this coat. Please wear it.
Yes.
It's 100 degrees outside.
And not realizing that we're really looking for some level of validation, even if it's the wrong level of validation.
Right. I think oftentimes it's worth saying that people mean well.
They do.
I don't think anybody sets out to deter us or send you in the wrong direction. They're saying to you what they're seeing. Oh, you an evangelist, or you should be a nurse, man. And you argue so well, you should be a lawyer. You in law school miserable because God called you to be a veterinarian. You know what I mean? That's a stark difference, but I'm saying it's, people mean well and they are speaking to you and feeding into you based on their interpretation of how they see you. But the only visualization of self that should matter is what God sees, what the Creator sees, because he sees our beginning and our end. And ultimately, he has the final say.
Absolutely.
Ultimately. But thank God for grace, though. And thank God for replenishing and allowing us to restore the years that the lotus and the cankerworm
is definitely doing that.
And that's beautiful. And here's the thing. Can I be extra for a minute?
Absolutely.
What's so dope that jumped out to me about that scripture is I have read that scripture my whole life. And for what I guess is how it was preached to me, was always the cankerworm and the lotus were the enemy. They were the bad people in your life. They're the folks trying to take you up, which is true. Those things are true. There are people who are truly just sent to deter you. But also the locust were the locusts because that's how God created them. The cankerworm is the cankerworm because that's their job, is to eat through leaves that are supposed to be there. Sometimes people are lotus and they're just being themselves. They're just being who they have evolved into being through their own experiences, through their own understandings. And unfortunately, proximity with the people being who they are,
Absolutely,
innocently, without malicious intent, cost us years. It takes years away dealing with their locust tendencies. It takes years from our life allowing them to eat away at our purpose for the sake of theirs because we don't want to outshine or outdo. We turn down our life. And again, they're just being them.
they're doing what they've been sent to do.
Yes. But the beauty is when they get done being them, or when we figure out that, oh, you a locust. Oh, man, you a whole cakeworm. When we figure it out, we can go into that prayer closet
And restore.
and be restored. The years, people, places, and things that it cost us.
I'm a witness. I'm a walking display for that.
Yeah.
I am a walking display of that.
I love that. So speaking of that, what role, and you kind of already talked about it, but I want to, because you said something earlier in your letter about faith, so I do want to nail that down.
Sure.
While we're here. What does your faith look like now? Like after going through all of those things, some things public, some things private, what does your faith look like?
It's through the roof. It really is. And I know I said that so calmly. That's because I'm in a place of peace that I've never been in before. I trust God at a level I've never trusted him at before. And I know that sounds elementary and in nature because somebody's probably watching this and thinking, well, all that she says she's been through, she has to have some level of faith that she's never had in him before. But I'm trying to articulate that it's a faith that's a radical faith. That whatever God says about me, I'm at such a place of peace where I know things will come.
Right.
But I know what he said. And because he said it, I trust him fully for it. I used to get so bent out of shape about so little. And at that time, it was much because my level of faith was different.
Got it.
It was overwhelming in nature. But each storm has caused an increase in my faith that I'm like, okay, God, you already confirmed I'm your child. You've shown it to me over and over again when you really didn't have to because you're God.
Right.
But you continue to be God because you are a great God. So why should I continually expect anything less?
Yeah.
And it sounds good with me articulating it now, but I will be honest that going through the different seasons, that was not what I was saying.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know what the next thing I don't know what the next thing will be that will come because I know he's going to continue to elevate me, not for me, but because his word is on the line.
Yeah, and it does not return void.
He's going to get the glory. And I'm going to be able to just bask in the blessings along the way because we got relationships.
Such a good job, guys. You did a good job. Very good.
We got a relationship like that. But truthfully, and honestly, my faith is 10 years ago, I would have never felt that I would have been in this place. Because I am analytical, I'm logical, I'm black and white. So can you imagine God dealing with that for all of that along the way?
Because gosh, no, life is great, okay? Life is full of great.
He working with that all along the way. I'm questioning. I need to see the end. I need to have it my way. I already got a plan. Don't really want to accept his.
But listen.
When his is fail-proof, we don't know what mine gonna do.
Show me. Who said it's fail-proof? How we know?
And then I'm going to pray to him when mine ain't going right. When he can say, I told you to use mine.
Tell me, you done? You finished or you done? You ready? You ready to go to right.
But it was truly like I'm believing him for the impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken in that time of when you were asking me the hows and when I was telling you about the whys. In that time, I really had to rededicate everything to him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Lotuses, because that's not what we do here on this set. There were sometimes I said, "Give it back."
Please, daddy, please, can I have this back?
And I had to give it to him again because it was not doing it my way. But
That's real, though.
It's real. I'm not gonna act like it was all peaches and cream, and I was just the best person to work with along the way. But God, being God and being His faithful self, has truly been amazing. Mm-hmm. It's been amazing, and I think one of the challenges that He really had to tell me about grace is because I want to try to perfect everything. Right. And sometimes you just have to be finished or done, not perfect.
Yes.
Everything is not going to be perfect. Everything's not going to be in its place. So once we get that through our minds.
Correct. And ultimately we are a part of nature, right? We're created in God's image. You can't find a single thing in nature that's perfect.
Nothing.
The beauty is actually in the imperfection and how there have been adaptations and evolutions around the flaws and around the things that we're no longer serving.
But that's why we serve a perfect God.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the myth that people have made some of us believe, that we have to be perfect to serve Him.
It's a lie. It's a lie from the pit, from the father of lies.
We don't have to be perfect. If we were perfect, we wouldn't need Him. And I didn't understand that. Mm-hmm. And it was that revelation that I had to embrace. Because a lot of times when we convey to people that they have to be perfect, it's a form of control.
Yes.
And manipulation.
Say that.
Control and manipulation.
You trying to manipulate me out here. Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah. So once we understand that grace has been afforded to us, mercy extended to us.
Every morning. Brand new.
And coupled with the renewing of our mind and saying, God, I'm going to show up as the best version of myself that I can do. Mm-hmm. Continue to help me along the way with this walk. I'm not going to get it right every day. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I'm just going to haphazardly live and ask you to accept just anything.
Right.
But I'm genuinely showing up as my authentic best self for that day.
For that day.
I don't know what tomorrow may bring. All I know is that I trust you. And I'm allowing Him to truly lead me.
Yeah.
I'm allowing Him to be God, and I don't have to make it happen.
You can't. Here's the thing, you can't.
I can't.
You can't, because you're not God. We really are in His show.
And then
for real.
And then carrying situations that we aren't designed to carry, that we aren't supposed to be carrying, that's the extra weight that sometimes exhausts us.
Yeah.
That's misplaced energy that keeps us from writing the book, from opening the business, from going outside to exercise, for cooking a meal at home instead of going through the drive-thru that's killing us. So when we have misplaced energy and anxiety and feeling overwhelmed, those things show up to frustrate and cripple us. There is more and more people battling anxiety because they feel like they gotta make it happen. I gotta be on scene. I gotta be on point. I gotta get this team together. No sleep.
That's where this stuff comes from.
And these are things that we are articulating and hashtagging, and is far from healthy.
Come on. It's far from healthy. And if it's far from healthy, it's far from God. because God, to be clear, is holistic.
Absolutely.
He's a holistic God. He cares about the molecule, the moment, and the movement. Every single part of it he is concerned with, both within you and within us as a collective.